Hello everyone, my name is Victor, I am the Occult Technician, and this is Mind War, Season 3, Episode 1. Mind War is sponsored by Victory Work Apparel. Use promo code Mind War. Join the Mind War today. Enlist at patreon.com/Mind War. Now back to the show. Welcome back to Mind War, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. To recap, in Season 1 of Mind War, we worked from the book Mind War by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aguino. We took the global psychological operations tactics taught in that book, and we learned to apply them to our personal lives. For example, we learned about the aristos, creating the best possible scenario for our current situation. In Season 2 of Mind War, we read through the 1st Earth Battalion, a book covered by the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats. We learned the importance of working with like-minded individuals on your journey to heal the mind, body, and spirit. And folks, in Seasons 3, 4, and 5 of the Mind War podcast, we are going to go even deeper by exploring the Gateway Experience tapes. So, over the next 3 seasons, each week we're going to be in an interactive journey, okay? So each week we're going to listen to a new tape. You're going to have 1 full week to listen to the tape and read a few paragraphs from one of Dr. Monroe's books. So Dr. Robert Monroe is the creator of the Gateway Experience tapes. We're going to learn a lot about him. And like I said, through each week, we'll just read a little bit through his books. He has 3 great books. We'll cover 1 book each season. And again, the very important part is we're going to dedicate ourselves, and me included, we're going to have the discipline to listen to 1 tape per week. Okay, the tapes are about 35 minutes long on average, and I think it's something that we can work into our schedules every week. And the reason we want to do it this way is to not apply too much pressure on the subject of listening to the tapes. I don't want you all to feel overwhelmed as we do this. So I think one tape per week will be a good rate. If you want to listen to the tapes more than once per week, that'll provide adequate time to do that, to really get to know the tapes more. So, again, we're going to learn a lot about Dr. Monroe and the Monroe Institute. We'll look at that a little bit. And we'll look into some of the rumors and the conspiracies that are surrounding the Gateway Experience tapes. So I first heard about the Gateway Experience tapes almost 2 decades ago when, I was a younger man and really diving down the rabbit hole of conspiracies. I remember hearing rumors about these tapes and how they were used by the Department of Defense and the Central Intelligence Agency to recruit spies to do astral projection and spy on the Soviets during the Cold War. Okay. We're going to put some of those rumors to bed, or really more importantly, we'll work through them, but we'll understand that that's not what these tapes truly are about. Again, these tapes are about healing the mind, body, and spirit, okay? They go so much deeper than the rumors that we hear about them. In fact, I think some of the rumors about these tapes, some of the conspiracies that surround them, were put out there as a way to maybe make people distance themselves from the tapes. Maybe it adds a lure to them that scares people away, because these tapes are extremely powerful. These tapes, as we listen to them and as we do the work, these are what you've been looking for, okay? These tapes are going to help you find the answers. And they're going to help you find the answers within yourself. Some of the answers to the questions that you've been searching for, you cannot find externally. And that's the beauty of these tapes, okay? So, again, the show is called Mind War, right? We are all fighting the psychological operations that are being thrown upon us, whether it's by the organizations, corporations, and institutions that run our lives, or more personal psychological operations that are being run on us by people that are the closest to us, and maybe they don't even know what they're doing. It comes in kind of forms of abuse and things like that maybe they're not fully aware of, okay? And so we're going to strip some of those things away, and we're going to put up our defenses and learn how to deal with these things, right? But in any good war, you need the weapons of war, right? So let's talk about what we need first. The very first thing that you need is what you see here, is a pair of over-the-ear headphones, okay? So over-the-ear headphones, I think, provide a much deeper experience when you're listening to the tapes. Now, if you don't have them right now, please don't let that stop you from listening to the tapes and following along week after week as we go through the seasons. If all you have is in-ear headphones right now, that's fine. Please use them, okay? Now, I've tried several different brands of over-the-ear headphones. I prefer the Beats brand, Beats by Dr. Dre, right? I think they're owned by Apple now. The model that you see here are the Beats Solo 3. You can find them on Amazon, usually for about $115 when they're on sale, okay? It's not a major price point. It's something that even if you save up $10 a month, you'll have them before you know it, okay? So one of the things that we want to look at with the headphones is when they completely envelop your ear. Even if you got the more expensive brand of Beats, I think there's ones that do like a noise reduction, so you can't even hear what's going on around you. But I think these ones are great. They the audio in them are much better than the other brands that I've tried. And I've tried Bose headphones, so over the ear. They did not sound great. And I tried Skull Candy. They were like bass boosted crusher headphones that had some type of device rattling inside of them, but the sound just wasn't there. So again, these Beats Solo 3 headphones, again, about $115 a piece on Amazon when they're on sale. You're going to see them for $199, but they constantly go on sale. So if you want to purchase them, and you can only find them at that $199 price, and you can go right to the Beats store in the Amazon app or wherever you want to buy them. But again, this is just where I've bought my pair. They are constantly on sale. So just wait till the next whatever event sale that's going on, and that price will come down. So good, solid over-the-ear headphones are your first weapon of fighting the mind war. The next piece, simply eye covers, right? So again, I got these off of Amazon. I think they were about $20. The brand, I don't know if you can see it here, is MZOO. They have great cushioning inside, and they really, when you tighten them up with the strap here, they really block out any type of light. Even if you're going to listen to the tapes during the day, which is something that we're going to talk about more when to do the tapes. But these are a great pair, and they really help. When I first started listening to the tapes, I had the first pair of eye covers that I wore. I think my friend left them here. They were part of her pajama set or whatever. So they really just kind of laid over my face. Even when I tightened them as much as I could, there was still a lot of light getting through. But I found these, again, MZOO, like $20 on Amazon, or any that really have this tight cushion around them, whatever works best for you. So that is another weapon that we're going to use to fight the mind war, okay? And next is, of course, Dr. Monroe's books, okay? So Dr. Robert Monroe, again, the creator of the Gateway Experience tapes, he has written 3 books, all kind of autobiographies where he talks about his experience with the Gateway and why he developed them. So the first book, Journeys Out of the Body by Dr. Robert Monroe. This is the one we're going to be covering here in Season 3. The next one is Far Journeys. And then the last one is Ultimate Journey. Okay. So we're going to be reading through these books. And now the beauty is all 3 of these books can be found on a website called archive.org. You can find them for free. I believe you can download them as a PDF or a file, or you can read them right there in the web browser. I think there are other web pages that you can get it, but archive.org, I've found those, and the links to those books are all in the description of this video. So again, my goal is I don't want anyone to feel like there's a financial burden in listening to the tapes. So again, if you only have in-ear headphones right now, by all means use those. If you don't have eye covers and can't afford them right now, take a handkerchief or a towel or whatever it is. And even just adding that little bit of pressure really helps as you're working through the tapes, right? And again, the books are free. You can buy them. I bought these, again, off of Amazon. They're about $15-20 a piece. Your local library might be able to buy them for you. But again, the links for archive.org, where you can find the books for free. And then, of course, the most important part is the Gateway Experience tapes themselves, okay? So to start, I think that I should mention that they are copyrighted by a company. I believe they're called, you can find them at hemi-sync.com, okay? And I went there the other day to take a look, and it's very difficult. Their website's pretty old. It's difficult to even find the Gateway Experience tapes on their website. And when you do, I don't think they even have all the tapes available. And when you look at the page, at least from what I saw, they come in multiple languages, and all the languages were just kind of mixed together in one. You kind of have to filter it out if you want English or whatever language you're listening in. And I just found the website very difficult to kind of maneuver and work through. And I think if you do order them, I think they only come as CDs. There may have been digital downloads, but here's the issue with getting them through hemi-sync. And again, the tapes are copyrighted. They were purchased by this hemi-sync company. And, so if purchasing them is very important to you, this is where you're going to do it. This is one of your best bets. The only problem is there something like $50, $60, $70 per tape if you want to try to get the entire collection, or per wave, I'm sorry. If you want to get the whole series, I think it was something like $700, okay? Now, folks, I'm not trying to put that financial burden on you. I think what hemi-sync has done by putting the tapes at this price point is really negative. I think basically what they tried to do is make the tapes the same price as a song. And what I mean by that is most songs are about 3 minutes long and they're 99 cents a piece. So basically, I think the way that they kind of calculated the cost of the tapes is $1 for every 3 minutes worth of tape. I don't think that's what they should have done. They should price them at 99 cents per tape. And again, each tape is about 35 minutes long. The whole series would cost about $50. And I think that they would have so many more customers purchasing the tapes legitimately from them. Okay. With that being said, now we're going to be more realistic and we're going to find where the tapes are for free. Again, links in the description of this video to other YouTube channels that have the tapes available for free. Okay. I think I put at least 3 links down in the description. Now, one of them I know said no ads. So it's going to be very important as you listen through the tapes. If any ads appear, we need to make sure that we go to another link that doesn't have ads. Okay. And one really important thing, and this was a little difficult for me, but if you have anybody that knows tech in your life, or if you know tech, right, it should be all, it's doable. But once you find a good copy of the tapes, make a copy of your own. Okay, so one of the ways that I did that is I recorded them using OBS, which is a free broadcasting software. It's what I'm recording this episode of Mind War on right now. And basically, I just recorded it as the tapes were playing on YouTube, and then I took those videos and turned them into MP4s. And so now I have audio copies of them on my phone. I have them on my laptop, right? I think it's really important to try to secure a copy of the tapes, because one of the things that happens with the Gateway Experience tapes and any channel that puts them up there, they usually get a copyright strike at some point and the tapes have to get taken down. So again, check the description of this video, find the links to the other channels that have them out there right now, and try to make a copy for yourself if you can, okay? So again, seasons 3, 4, and 5 of Mind War, we're exploring the Gateway Experience tapes. Each week, we're going to listen to a new tape. Each week, we're going to read a chapter or 2 out of one of Dr. Monroe's books. And before we get started, let's get to know Dr. Robert Monroe a little bit, okay? Mind War is sponsored by Victory Work Apparel. Use promo code Mind War. So again, Dr. Robert Monroe, the creator of the Gateway Experience tapes, he was born in 1915 in Indiana, USA. He had a strong interest in science, technology, and engineering as a child, and enrolled at Ohio State University. In the 1930s, Dr. Monroe began his career in radio broadcasting as a technician and engineer. And that's really important to know because it's the skills he learned as a radio engineer that eventually led to the Gateway Experience tapes, because he had the knowledge and availability of the technology at that time, because again, these tapes were made back in the 70s, folks. So his background is very important in how he came up with these tapes, how he actually created them. So after a short stint with his radio career, and now this was during World War II, he served in the Army Signal Corps, where he helped develop radar and radio communication systems. So again, he took some of those talents that he learned in his early career of radio broadcasting, and he brought them into the military, where I'm sure he found and learned all sorts of other very interesting technologies, right? So let's see, he was developing and maintaining communication systems, radio, radar, and telephone networks. He was an electrical engineer and radio broadcaster. He served in the Army for 4 years, where he was stationed in the Pacific Theater, including the Philippines and Japan. Let's see. His highest rank was technical sergeant, and he was honorably discharged in 1946 with a Good Conduct Medal and the World War II Victory Medal. Thank you for your service, Dr. Monroe. So, his experience in the military had a lasting impact on his later work. So, when Dr. Monroe got out of the military, he created a business in the early 50s titled RAM Enterprises. Now, I couldn't find the exact definition of RAM. It was either radio activities management or, let's see, something about radio advertising. So at RAM, he produced and syndicated radio shows, including his own popular program, The Monroe Show. It was a very successful venture for him, where he had broadcast his shows over 300 stations. And it was this time where Dr. Monroe began to explore his interest in parapsychology and the paranormal, all things that we're going to get deeper into. Now, let's see. So, in 1971, Dr. Monroe founded the Monroe Institute, which is a nonprofit research organization dedicated to exploring the nature of consciousness and human experience. So between his time at RAM in the early 50s and then when he developed the Monroe Institute in 1971, he started to have all sorts of interest again in the paranormal and parapsychology. And we'll talk more about how all of that came to be. So let's see, the Monroe Institute, again, founded in 1971, is in Faber, Virginia, explores the nature of consciousness and human experience. In the early years there, he began researching the effects of hemi-sync. Again, I mentioned the term hemi-sync as the company that currently owns the Gateway Experience, but hemi-sync is also sort of a technology slash feeling. It's a natural feeling that we have when we listen to the tapes, and we'll explain more about that in a moment. Let's see. Throughout the 70s and 80s, the Monroe Institute expanded its research and programming, attracting thousands of participants around the world. The Institute developed a range of programs and workshops, including the Gateway Voyage, a flagship program that introduced participants to the hemi-sync technology and the Gateway Experience. The Monroe Institute also established a network of certified trainers and facilitators who offered workshops and programs in various locations worldwide. Okay. So here's the beauty of this. You are not going to be going to the Monroe Institute and paying all of the money to go to a 5-day course. Okay. That's not how this works. We are going to, again, week after week, listen to the tapes methodically. We're going to take notes on what we experience, and we're not going to try to rush these things, okay? This is a long-term process, so it's about growth. Each tape leads to the next tape, right? And the beauty is, although I may not be certified as a trainer, and I'm not a facilitator because we're not at a facility, but I hope that I can train you through the tapes, because I've listened to all of the tapes, folks, okay? Some of them multiple times. And one of the things that I found when researching the Gateway Experience tapes, again, there are countless videos out there that are going to focus on the rumors and the conspiracies and things like that. But I found almost no one who actually had listened to the tapes. And I honestly didn't find anyone who listened to all of the tapes, and especially not in the way that I did. And we'll talk about that more. So, at the Monroe Institute, where they were teaching brainwave entrainment, okay? So these are programs that are designed to induce specific brainwave states, such as alpha, theta, delta, and beta waves for relaxation, focus, and mental clarity. So that's interesting, right? If you were here in Mind War Season 1, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aguino talked about before you go into a situation, a war-type situation, right? One of the things that we want to do is try to get the people that we may be going to war with to be in a more relaxed state of mind. And that's where he talked about the alpha, theta, delta, and beta waves, right? And we will look more into those in a moment. Let's see. And I'm going to say we, because again, I'm not a facilitator at the Monroe Institute. I have nothing to do with them. I have no affiliation with them. I've never contacted them. I'm just somebody who, when I first heard about these tapes decades ago as these conspiracies through these rumors. But in January of 2022, for those of you that have been following along on my Instagram through my art journey, I started listening to the tapes back then. I was at a point in my life where I knew I needed to do something, right? I was in a bad spot. And I decided, okay, I need to listen to meditation tapes. It needs to be part of the healing of the mind, body, and spirit, this journey that I had began over 2 years ago. And I looked at the options available for listening to meditation tapes, and so many of them just seemed very boring, right? And again, I don't mean to discourage anyone from listening to any type of meditation tape. That's fine. But just listening to frequencies or the sound of rain or whatever, I wanted to get something more out of it. I felt like I needed someone to guide me, and that's the beauty of these tapes. Dr. Monroe is going to guide you through this journey, and he's going to teach you all types of skills to use while you're meditating. That's one of the problems that we see with meditation in the mainstream today. We often just hear of clearing your mind and just sitting there not thinking about anything. There may be a place for that, but that's not what we're going to do here. These tapes, each one teaches you a new skill that plays along a linear line. The skill that you learned from the tape before, you're going to carry it on into the next one. And it's amazing as you start to build these skills, you start to realize and start to recognize how they are influencing your real life. Okay. So, again, if you hear me say we, as in talking about what the Monroe Institute does, I'm more talking about the things that we are going to do here at the Mind War, right? As participants, we are all going to participate in this. I listened to Wave 1, Tape 1, Introduction, right before I started the episode today. I read through the first two, the introduction of the first book, right before we started recording here. I wanted to make sure that I was doing these tapes along with you. And I will probably listen to tape 1 multiple times again before we record the next episode. So again, sound healing is one of the things that we learn through this, the therapeutic potential of sound that helps, again, with the physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, so the mind, body, and spirit. Consciousness research ongoing research into the nature of consciousness, including studies on the effects of hemi-sync on brain activity and human experience. You will, if you go through these tapes, you will have a better understanding of what it means to be conscious, what your conscious is, what your spirit is, what your soul is. You will start to experience them in ways you never have before. And I promise you, it opens up feelings and understanding about life that I couldn't find anywhere else. That's why I say these tapes are what you've been looking for. And again, folks, I'm not here selling you these tapes. I basically, I'm not getting paid to do this in any way. The only way you can support me is by ordering one of these fresh hoodies, right? We got the Fresh California hoodie on today from my Etsy shop, from Victory Work Apparel. You can join me on Patreon over at patreon.com/mindwar, where we work through different books that, again, are going to teach us tools on how to deal with ourselves and other people in our lives. Again, you can find it over at patreon.com/mindwar. But again, we're doing this work, and I'm not affiliated with the Monroe Institute. Again, we're not making money off of this here. I think what we found here with these tapes is so important that I want to get it out to all of you. And I can't make you listen to them, right? That's the interesting part about any type of self-help, exercise, eating right, any of that. You know, the person, that personal trainer. So you can think of me as your personal trainer as we go through the gateway experience. I can't make you listen, but I hope that you will, right? So there's professional training, there's residential programs where again, you can go to the Monroe Institute for a week. I haven't done it. It's probably not necessary. I think what we're doing here on a more long-term and a much more long-term program like this, I think it's a much better way to do it, right? So the Monroe Institute has had a profound impact on the fields of consciousness research. And again, a very important organization, right? Or institution, because the things that Dr. Monroe did through his work really brought things like out-of-body experience into the mainstream. He helped people not be so afraid to do research about it. Let's see. hemi-sync is a patented audio technology developed by Robert Monroe. So let's see. We have binaural beats. That's what we're using here. A lot of you've seen other videos for just listening to binaural beats. It's great. It can help you relax. But again, it's lacking those tools and skills that we're going to be taught. And then the hemi-sync mechanism, okay? So what is hemi-sync and hemispheric synchronization? So this is very interesting, right? So we're going to go more into this in a moment, but as you listen to the tapes, in one ear, you're going to hear a tone. You're going to hear a certain sound. And in another ear, you're going to hear a different tone or a different sound, right? And what happens is each side of your mind is calculating and understanding the tone from the ear. But when they play together, you start to get a very interesting phenomenon occurring. And I think it's called vibrato, this vibration sound, right? So in one ear, you might hear boo. In the other ear, you might hear boo. But when you listen to them together, it sounds like this. Whoa, 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 right? That's that binaural beats. And it's very interesting when you feel it, when you really start to feel it for the first time and it starts to take hold of your mind and your body, and it helps sink you into this deep relaxation. And when that vibrato occurs, I believe that is called hemispheric synchronization, because you're synchronizing the left and right side of your brain. So there have been all types of scientific studies with these tapes, right? You can, they would use EEG, right, where they're scanning your brain as they're listening to the tapes, so they could really tell how relaxed people are getting, right? So let's see. So again, the different states of mind, that alpha brain waves are related with being relaxed. You have closed eyes and are typically very deep states of relaxation and meditation, right? The brain waves of a beta brain waves are associated with thinking, problem solving, and motor activity. Okay, so again, all things that we talked about during season 1 from the book Mind War. And now theta waves are different than alpha waves. They are drowsiness, sleep, and meditation. So being drowsy and being asleep are very different than being relaxed, this deep, relaxed state, right? And then the delta waves are when you are in deep sleep and you are unconscious. But that's also when you are physically healing, when you get into that delta brainwave, okay? Now, one thing that's really interesting is this, you start to understand as we go through the tapes more about your subconscious mind. We get a much deeper understanding of the subconscious mind. Mind War is sponsored by Victory Work Apparel. Use promo code Mind War. So some of the things that we can expect to gain by listening to the Gateway Experience tapes are reduced anxiety and stress levels, right? I've found that overall in my life since listening to the tapes from the very first time, overall, my anxiety and stress levels have been very reduced. And there can be an increase in cognitive functions such as attention and memory. So these might be great tapes from other people in your life besides just you. So let's dive into the first part of our book today. So again, in season 1, we're going to be working from Journeys Out of the Body by Dr. Robert Monroe. Here on episode 1, we're going to read through the foreword and the introduction. All right. So the foreword was written by Dr. Monroe, and it's very interesting. He starts out talking about when he first started to have some of these experiences, right? So he started to have some out-of-body experiences, and he was very worried to talk to people about it, right? He was very worried because, again, back in this time, this was in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, things were a little more buttoned up at the time. It wasn't really until the 60s and kind of the hippie and cultural revolution where, you know, it started to be more okay to talk about stuff like this. And maybe Dr. Monroe played a part in that hippie revolution, right? As people started to be more open to discussing these kind of parapsychology or paranormal, you know, what these type of experiences that really are universal throughout time, right? All throughout history, we've heard stories of people having things like out-of-body experiences. And, but for a long time, it was, you know, you really couldn't talk about that. We lived in a buttoned-up society. Religion didn't want you to talk about that stuff. And Dr. Monroe was very worried that it would affect his career because, as we talked about, he was a professional, right? He was running RAM Enterprises. He was in the military. He worked in radio stations. So he didn't want to, at that time, have people think he was some kind of weirdo hippie guy, right? So he was very cautious about writing this book. And here he talks about the different things that he experienced, right? And so one of the things is he wrote this book, and again, he was working for RAM Enterprises, I believe the president and CEO, but he had his board of directors. He was very worried about showing them this book. He didn't want the board to think he was losing his mind or going crazy, right? But he was on a cruise, on a yacht of one of the board members. Okay, so again, this is the type of professional that we're talking about. And one of the board members' wives came up to Dr. Monroe and had a copy of the book and said, "Hey, can you sign this for me?" And one of the heads of the board of directors there said, "Hey, that's a really interesting book." He said, "My wife is really into that paranormal kind of psychic type stuff. I don't do anything business related without getting a reading from her first." Okay. So folks, this is going to play into future seasons of the Mind War. When we get through the Gateway Experience tapes, we're going to start talking more about how these tools that we learn here are going to play in our spiritual lives, whatever that spiritual life is that you want to practice. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to take these tools and apply them to your religious or your spiritual practices, right? And so I thought that was very interesting that this businessman, this head of the board of directors said, "Yeah, I don't do anything business-wise until I get a reading from my psychic wife," right? I think that's great. So it was really interesting. He talks about how he was able to open up and share this information with others and how that was such a good weight off of his shoulders. So it says here, "I made an important decision. For the most part, I would set up the conscious out-of-body state, then turn the action over to my total self, my soul." Okay. So what he's talking about is as he listens to the tapes and as he starts to have these out-of-body experiences, he realizes that there's a difference between the conscious state of mind and our soul, right? And he said that during this process, as he's listening to the tapes, he kind of tries to allow the soul to guide them through the exploration. But we do that by staying conscious. We have to stay conscious of what we're seeing and experiencing. And it's a very interesting feeling, right? It says, "Our work has attracted the interest and cooperation of physicists, psychologists, biochemists, engineers, educators, psychiatrists, corporate presidents, statisticians. Many of them serve on the board of advisors. Among the 11,000 plus pieces of mail received to date, many sighs of relief were reported. The secret could be talked about without the need for sanity hearings. This book is serving its primary purpose." So they, at the Monroe Institute, once this book came out, they started to receive thousands of letters from people who said, "I've had these weird out-of-body type experiences, and I was afraid to talk with my family and friends about them also." So it was great that they realized, oh my gosh, there's all these people who are experiencing this also. And now this next part is interesting. Over 700 people have participated in our research and experimental training program. I want you to understand the very important role you are going to play by listening to the Gateway Experience tapes, okay? You are going to be in a very private club when you listen to these tapes and experience the Gateway, all right? From my research, as far as the Monroe Institute is concerned, they've had thousands of people go through the program, okay? We're talking thousands. That's not a huge number. Again, since these tapes have kind of been leaked into the wild, let's say tens of thousands of people have actually listened to them. And I don't even know if that's true. I'm just trying to be generous, right? When you go through and listen to these tapes and experience them and study them, right? Again, you're going to be part of a very select, private few who have accomplished this task. Not many people have done it. And it's something that even if you're starting out today and just listening to tape 1, I want you to be proud every time you listen to one of these tapes, okay? They're very important. And it's going to change your life, I promise you. It's going to change the way you view your life. And if you stick with it, I think it's going to provide you with skills that help you maybe do things outside of the normal realms of life that the way that life works, right? The way that we understand it today. I really do think it opens up avenues of consciousness and thinking that really hinge on the edge of paranormal. I personally have experienced some very amazing things that we're going to talk about as we go through these next few seasons, right? So, in the introduction to Journeys Out of the Body, let's see, who wrote the introduction? This was one of Dr. Monroe's colleagues, right? It was Charles T. Tart, okay? Wrote the introduction. And I think the introduction's great. And the reason is because he spends his time in the introduction making sure that you get to understand that Dr. Robert Monroe is a professional person, right? He's, again, not kind of this hippie, out there, type of person. He's very professional, and he went about this in a very scientific manner. And that's the beauty of these tapes. I've described the tapes as a scientific way to learn magic, okay? And don't let that scare you off now. We'll be talking about magic in other seasons, but okay, so we talked about having an out-of-body experience. Again, that's a few steps into the tapes. We'll get deeper into that. But it's really kind of one of the core phenomenons that happens with the tapes that has caught so many people's attention. So again, the out-of-body experience is a universal human experience that can be traced throughout our history. We hear all sorts of stories about it. But we also read here that usually the out-of-body experience is a once-in-a-lifetime experience seemingly experienced by accident. Illness sometimes brings it about, especially illnesses which are almost fatal, okay? So we often hear about the out-of-body experience for someone who is on the operating table. They're floating above their body. They're seeing themselves on the operating table, right? And third, this part is very important. And I want you to really think about this as we go through the tapes, okay? Because again, this is a journey. It's going to take time and it's going to take work. If you start to feel yourself being frustrated, maybe you don't think the tapes are working or the schedule is too rigorous for you, please understand about this. This is why we do it right here, okay? The out-of-body experience is usually one of the most profound experiences of a person's life and radically alters their beliefs. This is usually expressed as, now again, this is what people who have had out-of-body experiences, whether it was a singular event for them by some natural phenomenon, right? Or someone like myself who has listened to the Gateway Experience tapes over and over and over methodically, has had countless out-of-body experiences, okay? I agree exactly with what these people say. I no longer believe in survival of death or an immortal soul. I know that I will survive death. That's a very profound statement, folks. This is one of those questions that humans grapple with every day. And if you're somebody out there who is struggling with this idea of what is the afterlife, is there something next? I promise you, when you listen to the tapes, you will experience what comes next. And that's amazing. And it really does alter your belief system. Stress and worry and things like that start to melt away, and you really start to view things in a different way. I promise you, these are going to be important. So again, Journeys Out of the Body by Dr. Robert Monroe. That's the book that we're going to be working through here in Mind War Season 3. Okay, so for today's episode 1, read the foreword and the introduction. And when we come back, we're going to actually start talking about the tapes themselves. We're going to read through what Dr. Monroe says, and we'll get deep into Wave 1, Tape 1. Mind War is sponsored by Victory Work Apparel. Use promo code Mind War. Welcome back, folks. So we are going to start reading through tape 1. So the tapes, I believe there's 47 tapes total, right? And the tapes are broken into waves. Wave 1 through wave 7. Each wave is made up of 6 tapes, okay? Again, each tape is about 35 minutes long. And as we go through this season, we'll be listening to 1 tape per week, okay? And so wave 1 is called Discovery, and tape 1 is called Orientation. So again, when you hear me talk about wave 1, tape 1, okay, that's what we're going to be working through. And what I want to do is actually read through what Dr. Monroe says in the tapes, so we can really get an understanding of what he's going to be working through. And so that way, as you listen to the tape yourself, you'll kind of know what to expect as we go through it. And my goal is to help share some of my experiences with you, right? So that way you know if you are having the same experiences, if the tapes themselves are working, right? So wave 1, tape 1. This is the first step along your path to a gateway beyond which is discovery, your discovery of reality and truth, of who and what you are, okay? It's very interesting. It is a journey. Like I said, we're going to have this journey, and it really does. One of the things that we learn through the tapes, part of this program, is learning the reality of our lives, who we truly are. Now, a simple preparation. Because of the special audio techniques used, it is important that certain sounds reach your right ear and others your left ear. So that's what I was talking earlier about the hemi-sync, the hemi-synchronization. Hearing a sound in your right ear and hearing a different sound in your left ear, causing the vibrato effect. To be sure of this, you should be hearing my voice in your right ear. This is what Dr. Monroe says. At this moment, if you are not hearing my voice in your right ear, turn your headphones around. Now, again, if you're listening to in-ear headphones, they pretty much, only fit in one ear. And really the same thing with over-the-ear headphones now. The Beats in particular, you really can't wear them the other way. If you try to flip them around, they feel very weird. So let's see. Turn your headphones around so you're hearing my voice in your right ear. Now, use these tones to adjust an equal balance in both ears and a volume of loudness that is comfortable for you. Now, as you listen to the sound of ocean surf, move your body into a more relaxed position. Release any tensions or strain points. Move into whatever position is best for you. Okay, so again, you're going to be at the beginning of the tapes, we often hear the waves crashing, coming in and out, right? And this part's very important. So when you go to listen to the tapes, there are two places where I've done the tapes where they've really been successful. Number one is in bed, okay? I think laying down in bed is the best way to do this. I've also done it in a recliner, and I've had some very good experiences there, but in bed, it's really great because here's what's important. He talks about not having any strain points. So what I like to do is when I lay down, I have a pillow under my knees. And if you lay down and you're laying on your back, you're laying straight, one of the things that you might automatically want to do is cross your ankles, right? Now, it might feel good when you first lay down, but after 20, 30 minutes of it, that stress point where your ankles are laying across each other may actually start to hurt. And one of the things that we're going to try to do is get as comfortable physically as we can. Because when we physically stop feeling our body, when we're not having these strain points, it's much easier to disconnect from the body. If you are in a lot of pain, if you have to go to the bathroom, right? Things like that. Simple things like this are going to kind of pull you out of the experience. So it's very important to make sure that you get as comfortable as possible. So again, you're laying on your back, legs straight. I like to put pillows under my knees to reduce any type of strain on my knees. And then the pillow that I have is the one that has the little mound at the front that supports your neck, right? I find that having my neck back a little bit, right? So it feels like I'm standing up very straight, and I have your arms down by your side, and with the eye covers on, the headphones on, pull your blankets up, make sure it's not too hot, make sure you're not too cold. You really want to get as comfortable as possible. And the best way, again, as you all know, clean the sheets, clean the comforter, have that fresh, crisp bed, right? It really, really helps because, again, the most important thing that we're trying to do in these beginning stages is get our body as comfortable as possible so it's easier to kind of ignore that it's even there, right? So let's see. The sound of ocean surf, of waves, a natural sound that most people find pleasing and relaxing. It's the sound of natural energy, a natural energy always present when the ocean meets the shore. The sound of waves, of energy in action. This is why it is a symbol. So the waves are a symbol, right? The waves as they crash upon the shore, as we listen to them, are a symbol. And one of the things that you're going to understand and start to learn through these tapes is symbolism. He uses a lot of symbolism throughout these tapes. Okay, so the waves at the beginning of each training exercise, because you are going to learn to use waves of your own natural energy, you will learn to focus these and direct these energy waves that even now are a natural part of you. Waves of vibrational energy. Your heart, for example, is beating to create pulsations of waves or waves of blood as it flows through your body. A slow vibration of energy at work. Your breath in and out of your lungs, slowly pulsing waves of energy to create and use. You talk and you create faster waves of vibrational energy into the air around you. Now, folks, I have seen countless videos about vibrations and waves and how important they are in our life. And for the longest time, I really didn't know what they were talking about. But as you experience the waves, it starts to make more sense. And you start to understand, oh, these things are real. Again, we think back to Mind War Season 1 as we worked through the book in Mind War. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Guino talked about if we're having a meeting with someone, you don't want to have a generator humming in the background with a very abrasive, you can't have a productive meeting if you have this wave of vibrational energy that you're hearing and is going to distract you, or overhead fluorescent lights that have this awful electronic vibrational energy being sent at you. Those are going to make you uncomfortable and make your negotiations uncomfortable, right? Let's see. As you listen, and your ears take one vibration of energy and creates another that your brain can understand, all of these and many more are natural. Energy vibrations that you generate and you use every moment that you exist, and for the most part, you are not conscious, you are doing so. And that brings us to the point where we are right now. This exercise and others to come will help you learn to create and use consciously your own mental and physical well-being, such natural energy. I want to reiterate that, okay? This is important. This exercise, tape 1, and the other tapes, they are going to help you to learn to create and use consciously. Now, we're consciously going to use for your own mental and physical well-being, healing the mind, body, and spirit, our own natural energies. We are going to consciously learn how to use this vibrational energy inside of us, what it means, how it interacts, and really helps create the life that we live. You will learn to perceive it, tune it, focus it, to direct it whenever and wherever you so desire. You will be able to control it with your conscious mind, consciously controlling our energies. These are the things that we're going to learn here. This is what you've asked for. This is what you've been searching for. This is the scientific way to do it, and I promise you, this is the beauty. When you learn the skills and techniques in the Gateway Experience tapes, you start to understand how they play into all of the other spiritual and religious practices that you've been taught your whole life. When you look at those practices and say, I just don't get it, it's just not working, it's going to now, because we're going to learn the skills to use this conscious energy. We're going to focus it. We're going to tune it to direct it whenever and wherever you so desire. You will be able to control it with your conscious mind, rather than being controlled by its non-conscious activity. Again, these spiritual feelings that we have, these vibrations, this longing, these desires, these human natures, all of those things that seem to control our lives non-consciously, you're going to be able to start taking control of them. That's what we're learning. That's what we've been working through here in the Mind War. That's why in season 3, we are back to basics, okay? We had our fun in season 2. We did some wild stuff. All that's great. You might see your buddy Victor making videos to do other wild things, right? But we are getting back to what's really important here in the Mind War, okay? Our conscious, living consciously, controlling our non-conscious feelings, right? We got to get control of them. We have to understand them. We have to understand our human nature, our human condition, understand our limitations, and once we do, then we start to blossom. Then we start to say, oh, here's what I'm capable of. Once you know your limitations, you know what you're capable of, instead of sitting there thinking, why am I not flying around the earth like Superman, being super rich, doing this, doing that, all these things that you think you desire, all of that falls away because you realize this is who I truly am and this is what I can actually do. You can do this calmly, without fear, because it is only another part of you. Again, you're going to experience things that very few people in the history of mankind have done. I promise you that. And you can do it calmly and without fear. And I'm telling you, folks, you're going to experience things that may be a little fearful, that may be a little strange. But you can do it without fear because you understand now, as we learn through step by step. These are our own skills. This is our own human nature. Because it is your own life energy belonging to you and no one else. That part's amazing too. I've talked to people about the tapes before. I've really tried to emphasize this. These skills within you, this energy within you, this chi or loosh or whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever it is, whatever name it is that your spiritual teaching has been talking about, it's your energy and no one else's. That's the amazing part. Once you understand that, then you start to realize, oh, wait a minute. Who has been stealing my energy from me? My boss, my relationship, other, technology. Am I staring at my phone too long? Is the unhealthy foods I'm starting to eat, are they stealing my energy? Can I really control these things because it's my energy? Yes. Take ownership of it. That's where the power is. It's yours and no one else's. Your vibrational energy, whatever it is you want to call it, it's yours. And it's beautiful once you understand that. Many wonderful things can happen when you do control your own vibrational energy, and you will discover these as you progress through these training exercises. To help you develop your own coherent mind and brain, there are specific sounds you will hear, and it is important that you perceive how they work. This will demonstrate. Okay, so now he's going to do a demonstration of hemi-sync. First, a tone in one ear. Boop. Notice that it is steady. It is even without fluctuation. Now we will shut it off and place a slightly different tone in the other ear. Boop. Notice that it is also steady, even without fluctuation. Now, when I put the first tone back in the other ear, and you will hear both at the same time. Whoa, 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 whoa. The vibrato, right? But there is a difference. You start to hear a wave, a vibrato in tone. When you hear this, your brain is beginning to act in unison, and it is a beautiful feeling. And now many of us have probably heard these vibrato tones in music. I think a lot of classical music uses this type of technique, right? That's why you can get so emotionally charged when you listen to certain songs. I think vibratos are used in there. The two halves of your brain, the two hemispheres, are starting to act and perform electrically as one unit. This is what is described as hemispheric synchronization, or hemi-sync, as we call it. This greater natural brain-mind power is what you will learn to use. So relax for a moment and explore this new feeling of hemi-sync. So again, in the first tape, what Dr. Monroe is going to play the two tones. He's going to play them together for this vibrato tone, and then he's going to let you listen to them for a few minutes. And it really starts to relax. It really starts to sink in, and you're like, oh, okay, I get this. I understand the feeling now. And folks, again, I listened to tape 1 just before I started recording, okay? And I've listened to these tapes countless times. And today, listening to tape 1 again for the first time, it was amazing feeling the experience again. Now, I try to listen to these tapes at least once every 2 weeks, but I'm going to be honest, the last few months I haven't listened to them. So it's really exciting for me personally to get back onto this routine of listening to the tapes with you. As we do this together, we're going to be rediscovering the tapes. I'm going to be right there with you folks. So now you are more comfortable. Your body is more relaxed. Your mind relaxed but alert. And you are ready to take the first step in your preparation. Okay. Create in your mind, or just simply think about, a personal energy conversion box. Okay. Let me say that again. A personal energy conversion box. Visualize or simply think about a large, strong box with a heavy lid. A box so strong that it can contain and hold anything you put into it. Think of such a box now. Here is the first step, right? In that preparation. Okay, this is very important. What I'm about to say, super important for these tapes. Your imagination is required. In my opinion, everything that we experience through the Gateway Experience tapes or through our religious and spiritual practices are imagination. It's an imagination that is going on. We are using our imagination to feel and understand and experience these things, okay? So, again, we're going to picture a box with a heavy lid. At first, I ain't gonna lie, I was just thinking of a dumpster, right? I literally, in my mind, pictured a green dumpster with a black lid, and right, that's what I was picturing in my mind. Now, I think of those giant black kind of sarcophagus-looking boxes that they found in some of the pyramids in Egypt, right? These massive black stones that were, several tons each one, with these massive lids that were just perfectly carved, right? And again, you can think of whatever box that you want. It's your imagination. You're going to think of a box with a heavy lid. Now raise the heavy lid of your energy conversion box and place in the box, for the moment, all of your physical matter, your worries, your anxieties, and concerns. Do you see where we're going with this? Okay, this is very important. You're going to visualize the box, this energy conversion box. And inside of it, you're going to put your physical body first. Because, again, we want to our goal is to forget that we even have the physical body. It's not a part of what we're about to go do. It's not necessary. So we put that in the box. Then we're going to place our worries, our anxieties, and our concerns. So all of those things that are stressing you out in life, all of those issues that you're dealing with, you're going to take them and you're going to put them in the box one at a time. Family, friends, work, bills, whatever projects that you're working on, whatever things that need a repair in your house, whatever is going on in your life, it goes in the box. All of those worries, all of those concerns. It's called an energy conversion box for a reason, because we are going to convert those feelings of anxiety and stress and worry, and we're going to convert them into healing the mind, body, and spirit. We're going to convert them into answers. We're going to convert them into problem solving, right? That's what we're doing here. We're going to change our lives. This is what you've asked for. This is what you've been searching for. It's in these tapes. I promise you. You will not need them during this exercise, and they will simply get in the way. It's so simple what he just said. We don't need what we're about to do by listening to the tapes, what we're about to experience in the out of body. You don't need them here. You don't need your worries, your anxieties, and concerns. They're just going to get in the way. They're going to distract you. Because one of the most important things that we do during the tapes is we need to stay conscious and focus. Okay? And that can be difficult. Even today when I was listening to the tapes, I was kind of tired when I listened to it. So there were times where I felt like I was almost starting to drift away and fall asleep and kind of fall into that dreamland where you just start thinking of random things and it almost feels like you're turning into a dream. So it's very important to kind of refocus even while you're listening to the tapes. Mind War is sponsored by Victory Work Apparel. Use promo code Mind War. Once you've done this, once you've put your concerns, your worries, all your stress, your physical body. You've put it in the box. Now we're going to close the heavy lid tightly and turn away from your energy conversion box. It's amazing. So again, we are picturing this. Now, you are laying in bed, your eyes are closed, and you have to kind of picture this in your mind. So you're picturing this box in front of you, but you're also kind of picturing your physical body there in this, what I like to call the abyss, this darkness, right? You can really think of it, if you've seen the show Stranger Things, when they go into the upside down world, right, where everything's just kind of dark. That's what you can think of. Out of the darkness, you see this box. You see your hands placing these worries into the box. You close the lid. And this is amazing. You turn around. You turn around in this realm that you're in. It's your spirit body that is doing the turning around. It's not your physical body, but spiritually, this spiritual avatar of you in this dark place, right? You turn away from it. And it's such a simple thing. But when you turn your back on your worries and your stress and your concerns, when you turn your back on them, do you know how powerful that is? Your worry, your stress, your concern, they are constantly fighting for your attention. They want your attention 24/7. They want you to always be worrying about them. They want you to always be thinking and stressing over whatever these issues are. And when you turn your back on them, that simple step is very powerful. Now that you've closed the lid, we're going to... And now these are kind of the famous words from the Gateway experience. You hear these on a lot of tapes, right? People, anybody that's talking about the tapes, you're going to hear these words. So this is again from Dr. Robert Monroe. We're reading through what he talks about. You're going to hear him say these things as you listen to tape 1. And he's going to instruct you to say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body. Okay, right away. He wants you to understand you are more than your physical body. He is directing your thoughts to focus on your spirit. Because I am more than physical matter. We are more than our own bodies. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and those near me and close to me. So again, we are setting the table. We are telling ourselves, here is why we are here. This is why we are doing these tapes. Because we are going to expand, experience, know, understand, control, and use our own energy. Our energy. It's ours, it's yours, and it's no one else's. We deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal or greater than my own. This is interesting. I didn't quite get it at first. But what he's talking about is as we go into this thought process, as we put these thoughts out into the universe, we are saying that we are open to getting new understanding, new knowledge from people who are at our level or greater than us. Okay? And it's amazing when you open up those channels into the universe. I don't mean for this to sound hippy-dippy, folks, because again, it really is. It's hard to explain, but once you open those channels up, you start to see people come into your life that have a greater understanding of what we're doing, and you're going to gain the knowledge from them. Here is the next step along your path to the gateway. It is called resonant tuning. Okay, so step 1, our energy conversion box, right? Our personal energy conversion box. We put in our worries, we put in our stress, we close the lid, we turn our back. Step 2, the resonant tuning. Breathe as I guide you, and as you inhale, pull fresh new energy into all parts of your body and up into your head. Then exhale through your mouth, pursing your lips as if you were blowing out a candle. And think of stale, tired, used energy moving out of your body and into the air as you exhale. Okay. As you're laying there, you're going to, again, your eyes are closed, you have the eye covers on, so you are visually seeing yourself kind of floating in the darkness, using that imagination, and you're going to breathe in through your nose. And as you do, you are going to visualize new energy coming in through your feet, right? It's going to come in through your feet, and it's going to go through up your body. It's going to go through all of your chakras. That's right, folks. You are going to learn how to control and understand what your chakras actually are. None of this yogi stuff, sitting there in the, cross-legged, okay? That stuff's cool. That's great. But what we're going to actually do here is experience it, okay? As that energy is flowing up, as you breathe in, you feel your chakras being refilled, brightened. And that energy, that fresh air is going into your brain, and you're going to hold it. You're going to hold this energy, right? And really all he's doing, again, this is scientific, simple stuff. He's just getting us to use a very simple breathing technique. Pretty much the 4-4-4-4, right? Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, release for 4, hold for 4, right? Easy. As you exhale, so when you inhale, it's new, fresh, light energy, refilling your chakras, brightening your mind, increasing your mental clarity. As you exhale, you are exhaling out that dirty energy, that old, stale energy. You are exhaling out your sadness and your worries and your concerns and the not necessarily the things that you're concerned about, but the negative feelings that are attached to them. You're breathing in new healing energy, and you're exhaling out that dirty, old, negative feelings. As you inhale, pull fresh new energy into all parts of your body and up into your head. Then exhale through your mouth, pursing your lips as if you were blowing out a candle. Okay. So, for the next few paragraphs there, he basically is just walking you through. So at this part of the tape, you're going to be breathing in, holding, breathing out, okay? Okay, this is where it starts to really get interesting. So the next part of the resonant tuning, begin again with your breath and move at your own pace of breathing. So now he's not really directing you to breathe in and out. You kind of breathe on your own. Inhaling through your nose, pulling that fresh energy into your body, up into your head, and exhaling through your mouth, blowing out that candle, blowing out that stale, old, used energy. As you exhale, use your physical vocal cords to hum or sing along with the resonant tuning as you exhale and blow out. The stale, used up energy, use your physical vocal cords to hum or sing along with the resonant tuning sound. You are ready now. Begin your resonant breathing. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace and humming or singing as you exhale. Begin now. Now, this is what's interesting. Let me make sure we're at the right place. Okay. So when he's first walking you through the breathing, you're literally just breathing in and breathing out, right? But now, as part of the resonant tuning, he starts to really, this part, once I kind of caught on to what's happening here, it really amazed me. Because what Dr. Monroe did is he gathered ancient techniques for what we're talking about. Again, this is a universal phenomenon. And these are things that when you think of, occultism and magic and the ancients and their belief systems and how they do these things, he looked wherever, he could find the important information. And so through the resonant tuning, when he talks about using your physical vocal cords, you start to hear other people in the headphones. It sounds like you're in a cave. I picture myself being in a cave with a bunch of other, almost like monks in hoods, right? You know what I'm talking about, this visual here that I'm painting. This cave, a dark cave, people standing all around you in the cloaks, right? And what you hear is this. But you hear multiple people at the same time doing the resonant energy along with you, or this resonant tuning along with you. And so you'll hear somebody start over on this side of the cave, because again, the experience with the headphones, the sound is three-dimensional. It'll sound like someone's over here to your left, or someone's to your right, or someone's in front of you. And they are starting this breathing along with you at their own pace. And so you can find someone that you want to pace yourself with or do it yourself. But here's what's interesting is this is the only time really through the tapes that Dr. Monroe is actually going to talk or ask you to physically move, because you will physically be making these sounds at this point. Okay, that's really important to remember. This part, you're not just thinking about making the noise, you're actually making it. You're breathing in. And you do that as long as you can. And you resonate. You match the tones and the vibrations of the other people. And it truly is amazing when you start to hear all these multiple different resonant tuning vocals happening at the same time. And then when you join in with it, it really, again, it's basic breathing. That's what he's trying to get you to do. But truly, when you do that vibrational feel, it does relax you more, and your body does almost feel a tingling to it, right? Let's see. So you do that in every tape. The energy conversion box and your resonant tuning, these are the steps you will do in every tape. Again, these are things that we learn. These are the skills that we learn to get us into the out-of-body experience, right? So once the resonant tuning is done, he says, breathe normally, relax, breathe normally and relax. Now you have completed your resonant tuning. Perceive and experience this new sense of being. Because again, it is a deeper sense of relaxation, one that we often aren't consciously aware of, because by now you're usually asleep when you're this comfortable, right? I will wait while you enjoy your resonant tuning. To take another step along the path, I will guide you to focus 3. Okay, so now we're on step 3. We start with the energy conversion box. We do our resonant tuning, and now we're moving into focus 3. So as we go through the tapes, you're going to hear about focus 3, focus 10, focus 15, right? And again, it's all incremental. When you hear the word focus, it is another word for hypnosis, okay? So the 3 stages that I've experienced, and I think what he teaches you here, are first hypnosis, okay? Dr. Monroe teaches you how to be hypnotized. Now, do not be afraid of that. We're not talking about some street trick or some magician on a stage who's going to do hypnosis on you and you're going to quack like a chicken or quack like a duck, right? That's not what we're doing here. The state of hypnosis that we get into through the focus here is one of the most amazing physical experiences that I've ever had, right? I love this state of being. And the best way that I can describe it is your physical body is deep asleep, but your mind is wide awake. It's amazing. It's such a comforting place to be, right? Again, because we have the different sides of our brain. One side of our brain is being lulled to sleep, and it allows our physical body to go into a deep relaxation, a deep state of sleep. And when you do that, right, when you sleep at any time, your body releases a chemical that stops you from moving, right? And I think it's kind of that chemical that flows through us when people have sleep paralysis, when they feel like they can't move, right? It's not a bad feeling. It's nothing scary. It happens to us as we sleep. And the reason that this chemical flows through us is it stops us from having our body move around while we're sleeping and we fall off the bed or hurt ourselves in other ways, right? So we get into this very deep, relaxed feeling physically. And it's so amazing because the way I've described it to family and friends, especially those who suffer with some type of physical pain, right? It's one of the first times that you're able to really consciously think without feeling the pain of your physical body. And those of you who are in pain understand how difficult it is to focus on anything when you're in pain, right? Because you're always focused on the pain. And even just getting into this first state of focus 3, it allows you to kind of be conscious without feeling that pain. You have a very clear thought process, right? Let's see. So for focus 3, the starting point of the gateway experience. So now we're just at the front door of the gateway. Okay, now we're standing there. The gateway is in front of us. Dr. Monroe says, I will count from 1 to 3. And when I reach 3, your mind and brain will be much more in unison, much more coherent, much more complete. I am going to count now. So even listening to this today, I was kind of confused. I was like, what does he mean by your mind and your brain? And I think I realized your brain is the gray matter. It's the physical, device that's inside of your skull, right? That's what he's talking about, your brain. It's the electrical signals and the chemicals and the fluids that flow through it. Your mind is more your consciousness or your spirit. So when we go into these focus states of being, it allows our mind and our brain to more work in unison, right? You understand when you are trying to focus on a task with your mind is telling you, I have work to do. I need to focus on this thing, even though it's boring, even though I don't want to be doing it. My mind says I need to be doing it. My brain, though, on the other hand, is listening to the rest of my physical body, right? And it's telling me that I'm hungry, that I'm in pain, I'm thirsty, I want to feed an addiction, whatever that addiction is, right? It's thinking and receiving all the signals from the rest of your body. And that can be where, again, your mind and your brain are not, working together. That is probably a lot of our life, our lives. That's what we live through, is our mind wanting to do something and our brain saying, no, you have a physical body you need to deal with. But when you get into this hypnotic state, again, your body's asleep. It's not worried about it. Your mind, your spirit doesn't have to worry about if you're hungry, if you're whatever. And again, the state of your physical being when you go into the tapes is important. Again, you don't want to be overly hungry, overly tired, overly caffeinated. You don't want to have this feeling like you need to go pee or something like that, right? Those are going to take you out of it. So it's best to kind of get yourself into as a neutral position as you can. But it's an amazing feeling. So then Dr. Monroe says, I will count from 1 to 3, and when I reach 3, your mind and brain will be much more in unison, much more coherent, much more complete. I am going to count now. 1, 2, 3. Relax, explore, enjoy, and experience the patterns of focus 3. Folks, again, I've listened to orientation, the tape, wave 1, tape 1, multiple times. I've listened to all the tapes. Some of them, almost a dozen times, because there are specific tapes that I really enjoy. And listening to tape 1 again for the first time today, when Dr. Monroe counted 1, 2, 3, it's so amazing. It's literally what you think of hypnosis as. As he says 1, your body, deep, a deeper sense of relaxation, a deeper sense of comfort. When he says 2, deeper still. 3, deeper still. Each time he says the number, you go deeper and deeper and deeper into that relaxing state, into that hypnotic state. It truly is amazing. It is all the things that you've heard about hypnosis and getting into that deep state of relaxation. This is doing it. You can experience it. And then he says again, relax, explore, enjoy, and experience the patterns. And that's the beauty of this. Once you get into that deep state of relaxation, he doesn't just rush you on to the next thing. He wants you to experience, really feel what it means to be this deeply relaxed. The synchronized brain and mind. I will call you when it's time to return. Okay, so he gives you a few minutes and then he says, kind of comes out of nowhere, right? He says, I'm going to count now from 3 to 1. Just like hypnosis, right? He counts 1, 2, 3. Now you're hypnotized. Now he's going to bring us out of the hypnosis by counting down. 3, 2, 1. And he says, when I reach the count of 1, all of your 5 physical senses will be operating clearly. Okay? So again, what he's doing is he's waking us up, basically. He's bringing us back kind of into our body. And again, at this point, we are not anywhere near having an out-of-body experience. In tape 1, we are simply getting the orientation of what it means to kind of start allowing ourselves to relax, right? A lot of, again, each tape plays upon the last one. We're learning these skills progressively. So again, in this one, we're just getting that first taste of what it means to be hypnotized. But when he counts to 1, our 5 physical senses are going to be operating clearly, cleanly, sharply, and beautifully. You will be completely wide awake, both physically and mentally, and feel completely refreshed and feel better in every way. All when I reach the count of 1. I'm going to count now. It's so amazing, this part right here. It seems so simple, right? It's just, when he counts down, okay, 3, 2, your senses are waking up, he says. All of your physical senses are waking up and becoming more and more aware. When I reach the count of 1, all your 5 physical senses will be operating clearly, cleanly, sharply, and beautifully. And you will be completely awake, both physically and mentally, and completely refreshed. All when I reach the count of 1. And then he says 1. He follows up. He says, wake up. Open your eyes, stretch your arms and legs, breathe deeply, and this completes the exercise, okay? I cannot reiterate this enough, okay? When Dr. Monroe counts down to 1, and he tells you to wake up, okay? You're going to just do it naturally. But what I don't want you to do is, if you're tired and you feel like you're in this deep, relaxed state, to just keep your eyes closed, keep your eye covers on, and pull the headphones off and go to sleep. That's not what you want to do. You need to listen to Dr. Monroe and do what he tells you. Because when you do, you get to experience these amazing feelings. And even today, folks, like I said, when I listened to the tape today, I was pretty tired. I would have gladly taken an hour or 2 hour long nap. But I listened to this 35-minute tape. And when he told me to wake up at the end and feel refreshed, I literally just popped out of bed, took the eye covers off, took the headphones off, and truly did feel energized and refreshed. And that's what I did, again, before I came down here to record this episode. When you wake up on his command, it truly is refreshing. And it's very strange because in a way, technically, you did just take a nap. You were laying there, very deep relaxation for 35 minutes, but you were consciously awake, allowing yourself to think through things. And then when you wake up, you still have that refreshed feeling from the nap. So one of the reasons that Dr. Monroe even started experimenting with these different sounds and audio is when he was, I believe, in his 30s. Again, he was running RAM Enterprises. He's the CEO and president, right? He's got a wife and kids at the time. He's very successful, has a lot of shareholders and board of directors who are reliant on him to be professional. And what happened is he found that in the afternoons, he would lay down to take a nap, right? And he would lay on the couch. And as he did, he said he would feel this vibrational feeling come throughout his body. And then he would start to have these out-of-body experiences. And that vibrational feeling, I tried to look it up, and the closest I could get was a term called hypnagogic. Okay. So hypnagogic is a natural phenomenon that basically explains the process of falling asleep, right? That's a scientific term for falling asleep. It literally has the word hypna in it. Hypnosis, hypnagogic, right? I couldn't specifically find any reason for that vibrational feeling. But what's amazing is you might not feel it as you fall asleep or go in through these tapes, but when you come out of the tapes, you feel that vibrational feeling, right? So at the end of the tape, he kind of plays almost like an alarm clock, this sound that's kind of very loud and fast, and it wakes you up out of it. You want to listen to that all the way through. And as you do, as you're waking up and you're sitting at the side of your bed, you're going to feel your body vibrating, right? And as you listen to the sound, it kind of, the vibration slows and you really kind of, again, are snapped back into reality, into being awake, right? It really is an awesome feeling. So, folks, I have kept you very long here today on Mind Wars Season 3, Episode 1. I'm so excited to be here with you. Again, each week we're going to be listening to a new tape from the Gateway Experience tape. For today, Season 3, Episode 1, we're going to listen to Wave 1, Tape 1, which is the orientation. Again, look for links to the tapes in the description of this video. If you can, get your hands on some over-the-ear headphones. I prefer Beats. Don't forget about your eye covers. So grab the eye covers. There's links to Dr. Monroe's books for free at archive.org in the description here. These are the tools that we're going to use to fight the mind war. These are the weapons of mind war, right? It's a beautiful thing. We are creating an army of mind warriors, right? We've talked about it before. Our citizen samurais, right? We are going to use these peaceful tools to better ourselves and our lives and the lives of those around us. And we're going to, as we go through these things, again, just like we learned in Mind War Season 1 when we worked through the book Mind War, when you start listening to these tapes, I know you're going to be excited to tell everyone in your life. But again, like we've learned before, gauge their participation. You might be really excited, but when they hear you start talking about this stuff, about getting hypnotized and out-of-body experience and astral travel, and as we work into future seasons, right, they might think it's really weird. So maybe hold off on telling people about this for a little bit. Let's get through this first. Experience what's happening before you announce it to everyone in your life. Again, we're being cautious, right? Hold these things dearly. But once we've had some of these experiences, once we understand what we're doing here, we are definitely going to share it with others. Just like I'm doing here, I'm sharing it with you. That's one of the most important things of the mind war. The things that we learn here, we're going to try to share with others, okay? And sometimes those closest to us just aren't going to listen. And that's why I'm here talking to all of you. I may not know you personally, but, we are transferring knowledge. I'm trying to share with you the things that I've learned, and I'm so excited to do that. And again, I appreciate all of you being here. So until next time, please remember, folks, harden your hearts and open your minds, because this is Mind War.